Shimron Hetmyer program is mined to tackle difficult tasks. Shimron Hetmyer show how to navigate a difficult run chase. Hetmyer helps the Rajasthan Royals beat the Gujarat Titans to go top. And from his own country in Guyana, the newsroom headline was Six Hitting Hetmyer cements Royal atop the table. These are just some of the many headlines that the West Indies and Guyanese batsmen and the 2016 Under-19 World Cup winning captain is making in the IPL. He has had a brilliant season so far. And the questions that are being asked is, will he ever play for the West Indies again? If he plays for the West Indies again, will he be able to reproduce these type of performances? Hetmyer is one of those who divides opinions in the region. Hello everyone, and welcome to the show. Please slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. Today, the Cricket Forum is 2 years old. Today is the second birthday of the Cricket Forum. Thank you to this wonderful community who have made it all possible. So far this year in the IPL, Shimron Hetmyer have played 5 matches. He has scored 183 runs from 99 deliveries with a top score of 56 not out of 26 balls. That 56 not out was yesterday against the Gujarat Titans, the team of Alzarri Joseph. And many, especially in the West Indies, was looking forward to that clash between Hetmyer and Joseph. For so often in the past, Joseph have knocked over Hetmyer. But yesterday, Hetmyer creamed him for 2 sixes in the 16th over, as Joseph conceded 20 runs off that over. Hetmyer is averaging 183 runs so far in the IPL, being dismissed only once. With a strike rate of 185, having hit 7 fours and 15 sixes, his key performance indicator matrix, which is a combination of his strike rate and his average, is 368. Never have been seen before over such a long time. 5 innings. Persons may do, but over 5 innings, this KPI matrix have never been seen before. Congratulations to Hetmyer for his performances in the IPL so far. But the question is, will he ever represent the West Indies again? I would like to make it clear that I would love to see Hetmyer back in that West Indies team. But will he ever do so? Will there ever come a time when this happens? The first thing I want to point out here is that, and I think I've said it before, when Hetmyer represents the West Indies, except for in the West Indies, and maybe even in the West Indies, it costs Hetmyer to play a T20 match for the West Indies. Let's give an example. Say the West Indies is touring Pakistan. Hetmyer is a devoted family man. He gets $2,500 to play a T20 match for the West Indies. And so they are going to Pakistan for a 3-match T20 match series. Those 3 matches will probably take 7 to 10 days between leaving Guyana, flying to Pakistan a day or 2 before the match, and leaving Pakistan to come back to the Caribbean. That is probably about a 10-day journey. Hetmyer is a man who travels with his family. Cricket West Indies doesn't pay that cost. So to earn $7,500, it cannot cover the trip for Hetmyer and his family. So it cost him to represent the West Indies. So who do you want to do this? Here's a man who is making $100,000 plus to play a single match in the IPL. And he played at a franchise cricket tournament around the world. The payment may not be, or it is not be as much as $100,000 per match. But it is far more than the $2,500 that West Indies is paying him per match. If Hetmyer decides to represent the West Indies, it will be because of patriotism. It will only because he wants to do it, but it will not be for the money. Let me take some of your comments. I see the comments coming in. Okay, I must apologize. I must apologize for earlier. The rain was falling heavily, very heavily, and it affects the connection and the audio. So I must apologize. Mary. Thank you for that. You need to put a community number to your description so that someone could at least WhatsApp you and tell you what's going on. True. Thank you very much. I will do that. I will do that, Meredith. I will do that. Thank you for that. Crystal View Aviation. Great idea, Mary. Just when you are doing the show, Mr. Cricket Forum, because there are a lot of people that watch the show. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. Crazy times. Sheldon, let's hear from Sheldon. Crazy times. Did the internet people do you dirty? Sheldon, I think it's maybe because of the rain. It was really what you would call in Jamaica raining cats and dogs. But I really appreciate these kind sentiments. You guys, you make me feel so good. Thank you. I big up. One love. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sheldon would be crazy if the internet people do that. I can just imagine, Sheldon. I can just imagine. Around 2 years ago, does the IPL have an official YouTube or Instagram channel? Not a YouTube. I don't know if they have an Instagram, but you know, the IPL, there's so much copyrights in the IPL. There's so much copyrights that they wouldn't show it on YouTube. Perfect. Thank you, champion. Thank you. He can stay where he is. He don't care about West Indies cricket. And that is why I say Mr. Casanova, he divides opinion in the region. And so I do not have any objection to someone who does not want to see Hetmyer represent the West Indies again. And it's the same way I do not have any objections to someone who wants to see him represent. He's going to defy opinion. Yes, Mr. Cricket Forum, you are back and sounding great. Thank you. Very good. So the Rajasthan Royal were correct to pay him when he bats, to play him where he bats. Yes, Sheldon. So far, he's doing very well because that matrix of 368 have never been seen before. He has been dismissed only once. His strike rate is 185, and that strike rate of 185 put him 14th. He has the 14th highest strike rate in the tournament. Naturally, he has the highest average. When it comes to the six hitting, his 15 sixes are on the third to Glenn Maxwell, who has 19 sixes, and Fluff Duplessis, who have 18 sixes. It must be pointed out, though, that his strike rate of 14 is not the highest strike rate among West Indians, as Pooran's strike rate is the fifth highest. Pooran has a strike rate of 212 compared to Hetmyer's strike rate of 185. 184.84, which I just round up to 185. So these numbers are leading people to call for his reintegration in the West Indies team. And so there are two sides to the argument. One side is that he should not be, and the other side he should be. When you look at Hetmyer international T20 average for the West Indies, I believe it is somewhere between 21 and 22. That makes him not an automatic pick in the West Indies team. However, based on his performances so far in the IPL, it is my hope that a compromise can be reached between Cricket West Indies and Hetmyer. I think the hard stands of both parties, there need to be a meeting in the middle. There need to be some compromise between both. And I only hope that should that compromise reach, then Hetmyer will agree to do some pro bono work for the West Indies, and that his performances will be that similar to what is happening in the IPL. Mr. Casanova, he needs to come and apologize to us. And that is what I just addressed, because there's a hard stand by Cricket West Indies, there's a hard stand by the people in the Caribbean, and there's a hard stand by Hetmyer and the team around him. Can we find a middle ground? Is an apology in store? An apology would certainly sort of soften the path forward. I am not going to be here and say that I felt disrespected, very disrespected, when Hetmyer did not go to the World Cup. And I was in Guyana at the airport, waiting the same flight that Hetmyer was to leave Guyana on. I was traveling on that flight. And there was a lot of argument, not argument, but there was a lot of hype in the airport that Hetmyer was coming. And Hetmyer never turned up. I was in the airport in Guyana that Saturday night when he should have left. Not the Monday. I think the Monday was the second attempt. So I was in the airport. So I felt hurt because I was looking forward to see him then. And so I was very disappointed that he did not go to the World Cup. And maybe an apology, not maybe, he should apologize. But then there must be a middle ground. He must be able to meet Cricket West Indies halfway, and Cricket West Indies must be able to meet him halfway. But on the other side of the coin, there are persons who believe that Cricket West Indies should just done with him. And if persons see it that way, I cannot complain. I cannot hold anything against those persons. That argument is true for Pollard, Pooran, Narayan, Russell, and every other big player. Come with something else. Sheldon, I missed the argument. Or is it the one that I'm making? Maybe it's the one that I'm making, that there must be a compromise because these players travel with their family. Yes, they travel with their family, and to represent the West Indies, there must be a compromise. The champion, welcome to the show. How you doing? We should treat our best players with much more respect. You would never see the Los Angeles Lakers treat LeBron James like how Cricket West Indies treat some of their players. And The champion has a point there. And there's always another side though. The Los Angeles Lakers is a highly professional organization in a first world country. And it is true that they treat the player with a lot of respect in a professional way. But it's also true that there comes a time when the player has responsibility. There must be some responsibility with the players. Now, one could argue that Hetmyer behaves in an unprofessional way on a number of occasions on other West Indies players. And one could also argue that you will never get this from a LeBron James. He's a highly professional person. So you're correct, the champion, that an organization like the Los Angeles Lakers, and they have a match this evening. They are playing against the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't remember, but they are playing a match this evening. And I'm not a basketball fan, but comes the playoff, you tend to check in and see who win from who lose. But the champion is right. These organizations are highly professional and they treat their players with respect in a professional way. But these players, too, the champion, are also more professionals than our players. They act in a more professional manner than our players. Alan Payne is making the point. Good, Alan Payne. Thank you. I never saw it, Alan, so you and I are in the same headspace. But I would have him, but you would have him. I would have him also, Alan Payne, and as I discussed, there must be a meeting somewhere. And the fact that, and the big question though, does he want to play for the West Indies? And someone might say, it's the money. It's the money. But I tell you something. Presently, there's a constitution reform committee that has been set up by the government of Jamaica as Jamaica seeks to do away with the king as the head of the country and replace the king with a native Jamaican. So there's a constitution reform committee. This committee is made up of a number of high-profile, patriotic Jamaicans. But do you think that any of them, mostly lawyers, because it has to do with constitution matter, do you think any of them is working for free? Or do you think any of them is working below their rate? So if Hetmyer is getting 10, 12, 15, 20, and in the case of the IPL, 100,000 plus per match, it's a far down that he has to come to play for the West Indies, where he's only collecting $2,500 per match. So he has to make that decision if he wants to play for the West Indies for $2,500 per match. So it's a big decision for him. What do you think about the CPL not being played in Jamaica? That's a big disappointment. Last year, I interviewed Jeff Miller, and I was trying to find the interview because I do not want to misquote him. I did not find the interview, but trying to basically summarize what he said then is that when they play in Jamaica, they lose money. He had given me some figure then, but because I cannot remember the figures, I cannot say it here in a public forum because I may get in trouble. But basically, Jeff Miller, the CEO of the Jamaica Tallawahs, have said that they lose money when they play in Jamaica as they do not have sufficient backing from the private sector and the government of Jamaica. That's basically what he had said. Details I cannot give you because I did not find the interview, but I did interview him. So it boils down, again, to finance. While the people of Jamaica would want to see the CPL For us to see the CPL, we'll have to go to another country to watch it. But as far as the CPL is concerned, it costs too much and they do not recuperate, they do not make a profit when they play in Jamaica. It is sad, it is very sad. Not having cricket in Jamaica is an injustice. Alain Payne, thank you for your comment, Alain Payne. It feels that way. It feels that way. It feels that way. And I have been showing some schoolboy cricket and I've been showing some senior cup cricket in Jamaica on my YouTube channel. Tomorrow there's another match. I think the match is between the rural champion and the urban champion. That's the champion from Kingston. So that's the all-island finals tomorrow. I will try and go to that match and show some more of it. John P. Nicol, thank you. Long time I haven't seen you. The career of a professional cricketer is very short. I support Hetmyer 100% in maximizing his earnings away from CWI. I agree with you, John P. Nicol. I agree with you. I agree that the decision, although the CWI, it's a very complex situation, John P. Nicol, but that statement that you make, no one can disagree with it. With it, no one should disagree with it. Good evening. Cricket West Indies need to apologize to him for their lack of respect for him. For him. So that is why I said that it divides opinion. Because here's Sherwin saying that Cricket West Indies should apologize for him. And here is Mr. Casanova saying that Hetmyer should apologize for Cricket West Indies. May long rage the debate as it wills divides opinion. Unless there's something that I don't know, though, Sherwin, unless there's something that I don't know, and you can tell me, but all the information that I have, in my mind, it should be Hetmyer who should be apologizing. But again, if you see that is Cricket West Indies should be the one that should apologize, please tell us why you say so. Because the information that I have, I think the apology should be coming from Hetmyer. Notwithstanding what I said though, I think both parties need to compromise and meet in the middle, Sherwin. I think both parties need to apologize. Hetmyer T20 averages 21. Thank you, Sheldon. I think I did say 21 or 22. What makes him think that he's special? He's getting paid to perform a role in the IPL, and if he can't, he's dropped. Pollard won 5 for MI and still got a seat. Yeah, so talking about the average, a 21 average doesn't suggest that Hetmyer is special. No one can fairly and honestly say that a 21 T20 average is special. And so I agree with you, Sheldon. And thank you for confirming the average, because I was trying to remember whether it was 21 or 22. And he's doing what he's doing well. But how I look at it, Sheldon, and let me look at it from the position of one of your countrymen, Darren Bravo. Darren Bravo was dropped from the West Indies Test team after a series of poor performances. Now, he scored the second highest number of runs in the recently concluded regional 4-day cricket tournament, over 400. And so, from the fact that he scored so many runs, I personally would have Darren Bravo in my next West Indies squad from the number of runs he scored, despite his average in Test cricket and in his last few matches. So that's the same way I'm using to judge Hetmyer. Despite Hetmyer average of 21, because the way he's performing now, I would include him back into my T20I squad because of the way he's performing now. If we look at players' past average and their past performances, then no one will get a recall. And I'm sure, Sheldon, you will not want anyone to deprive Bravo a recall because of his performances in his last 5 matches for the West Indies. So I believe that Bravo should get a recall. It's the same way that I believe that Hetmyer should get a recall. But then again, in the case of Hetmyer, it's a very, very, very complex situation. Hetty need to be scheduled and interviewed to clear the air. Good point there, Payne. Yes, good point. Good point. John P. Nicol. Hetmyer does not owe anyone an apology for anything. Okay, good. John P. Nicol, we have different opinions on it, but we often disagree and we often agree. And that's what the aim of the Cricket Forum. Philip Kane, how are you doing? Long time. Good night. This is the first time I'm making a comment on your show. I watch it often. Where Hetmyer is concerned, Desmond Haynes would have to step down, in my opinion. And there comes another opinion again. Wonderful, Philip Kane. I think that it is Michael Kane that usually make the comments. Thank you, Philip. Welcome. I hope you continue to make more comments. And there it is. It could, and there is where Dr. Shallow needs to come in. If Hetty has an issue with Desmond Haynes, there's where you need your president to come in to make the reconciliation and guide the process forward. That's where you need your president now to step up. Because clearly Philip Kane is citing an issue between Hetmyer and Haynes. So that's where you need your president to step up. Who really knows what happened with CWI and the players? Based on what Darren Sammy said when they won the T20 championship, it sounds like they are highly disrespected. West Indies players should be valued more. I have done a lot of video on that AR because one of the things that I've always said, Cricket West Indies have a responsibility to be professional and to show the players respect. The players also have a duty and a responsibility too. But I've done a number of videos on that AR. Welcome to the show this evening. The Cricket Forum, if FT apologized to Cricket West Indies, I will no longer be a fan of his. The way the West Indies Cricket Board treated Hetty, Lewis Cornwall, is shameful. Thank you, Sherwin. Good, all right, you have made your point. We're always welcome. No CPL for Jamaica since 2019. Giovanni Reid, something needs to be done. But the Hetmyer thing is a divisive situation in the region, no doubt about it. No domestic red ball cricket in Jamaica since 2020, and no domestic 50-over cricket in Jamaica since 2023. I wonder if Billy Avon would. I'm going to send Billy Avon an email and ask him if he's prepared to come and be interviewed on the channel. Because what you're telling me, Giovanni Reid, is of cause of great concern. Yes, of Hetty priorities family income, but he need to be more professional. Look at Dhoni. Hetty is a marquee player. Good, Alan, we take your point. Good point there. Thank you very much for your point, Sherwin. The only thing I want Hetty to say to Cricket West Indies, no, come on, Sherwin. No, Sherwin. Come on, Sherwin. No, Sherwin, man. We don't need to go down that road. If Hetty gives CWI a good year or two, he can get a contract where he will get paid $250K a year. But he may well get it at the next Action 2 champion. Cricket West Indies dropped Hetty for not playing in COVID. Call him fat and out of shape. But remember that they call him for the World Cup. Sherwin. And remember that last year, because I was at Sabina Park when Hetmyer played 3 T20 for the West Indies team in Jamaica, and they call him for the World Cup. So what I don't want, and what I want us to move away from, is the blame game and try to see where a resolution can be reached. Because that's what we need to strive for. We need to have our best players playing for the West Indies and to see if a resolution can reach. And so there comes a time where where the blame game needs to be thrown out the window and to see if both parties can come together. So we need to stop the blame game. MS, thank you. Does any other nation pay for the cricketer's family? No, I do not know of any other nation that would pay. In COVID, there were nations who were paying for the cricketer's family during COVID, but that has been discontinued. Thank you for your comment, MS. Thank you very much. So Sherwin Bravo was dropped because he's afraid of the ball. Okay. Eti score runs against India before the World Cup, though. Yes, but the World Cup is not an issue. He was called to the World Cup squad. He was in the squad for the World Cup, but he did not turn up, and no one can force him to turn up. Sherwin, Bravo and Hope are superstars in the bowl. Is the bowlers are medium pace or spin. They both are afraid of short balls. Supernova 22, soon 4K subs. Congrats, but Eti, like Narayan, Russell Rutherford don't need West Indies to survive, so they don't care to put the maroon back on and bank account is filled. Supernova 22, you are onto something there. And that's why the topic say, will Eti ever play for the West Indies again? Thank you, Supernova, for congratulating me, and you have helped for me to reach, for this community to reach. But we have players like Chase in the T20 team. Yeah, I don't know why Chase is there. Honestly, I do not try. Good, keep the list moving. Thank you, Gianna Rose. Thank you. I back my Barbados players, but it's a results business. True, it's always a result business. Adrian Bishop, thank you for tuning in, Adrian Bishop. Hetmyer make a mistake, but he should not be treated like an outcast. His talent is undeniable. I haven't heard any complaints from his teammate. So those are true, and that's why I'm saying it's hypocrisy. Giovanni Rose thinks it's hypocrisy, and same issue with Lewis also. Players hold the power now; they have many options. Players for West Indies is not a necessary, so it is not necessary. So at the end of the day, both parties have to meet halfway. Thank you, Supernova. That's what I've been saying. And we must remember that persons, I think the latest New Zealand player, I remember, what's his name? Trent Bolt is the latest New Zealand player not to take a retainer contract. Now, Chevron, I'm just going to take Chevron, Hetty not interested in West Indies cricket. There are a number of persons agree with you. Sheldon Simmons said, Lewis, after a poor World Cup, has gone back to club cricket to rebuild his form. It will be very interesting if Pooran accepts the contract from CWI, or does he turn it down like the rest? Very interesting. And his strike rate of over 200. Pooran is doing very well also in this year IPL. He should not be overlooked. It will be very interesting. So that's Supernova. Now there's another issue that I want to talk about. And this is very, very, very serious. The recently concluded West Indies Under-15 Rising Star tournament. There was a young fast bowler from Guyana. I won't call his name because he's under 15, so I won't call his name. He played in the first match. He bowled 5 overs for 11 runs. That's the very first match that Guyana played. I think it was against the Windward Islands. He bowled 5 overs for 11 runs, a fast bowler. And he did not bowl again in the tournament. And he was not injured. He did not bowl again in the tournament. He was not injured. And if he did not bowl again in the tournament and he was not injured, my conclusion, and I hope it is wrong, but I cannot come to another conclusion, is that he comes to the tournament and was throwing. I won't call his name, but that's the only conclusion that I can draw. And I'm not blaming the 15-year-old young man. I'm blaming the Guyana coach or the selectors who chose to carry a 15-year-old young boy. How devastated is that young man right now? Why wasn't his action corrected in Guyana? He's a 15-year-old child. 15. Why wasn't his action corrected in Guyana? Why did you take him to the tournament to embarrass him? I hope I am wrong. But if he's not injured and he played the first match and bowled 5 overs for 11 runs, what else could it have been? And the other thing that comes to my mind, I hope that is not it. Because it's two things that came to my mind. But I'm telling you, of the two things that came to my mind, that's the better one. Why wasn't this young boy action corrected in Guyana? Why did the Guyana Cricket Board, the coach and the selectors took an under 15 young boy to Antigua and caused such embarrassment on the young boy? It is very sad. It is very, very, very sad. I just don't think that should have happened. I won't call his name. And I know there are many Guyanese in this community. So I hope that I'm asking you to come back to me with a report to tell me what's really happened to that young 15-year-old fast bowler, under 15, that could not bowl after the first 5 overs in the tournament. Why he could not bowl. And talking about the under 15 tournament, and just on that point though, from Guyana, there's a young man from Guyana, the information coming to me out of the tournament, that Dave Mohabir, the captain of the Guyana team, of the under 15 Guyana team, at the recently concluded tournament, Dave Mohabir, that is a future West Indies captain. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that he's very mature. He knows his cricket. He operates far beyond his 15 years old. That's what the comment. So his name is Dave Mohabir. Very mature, knows the cricket. The person said that the report that I'm getting is that he is by far the most mature individual among all the players at that tournament. Now, there are 2 batsmen that stood out, and these are 2 names that you should look out for. One from Barbados and one from the Windward Islands. The one from the Windward Islands is Fontaine. I think Urshino Fontaine from the Windward Islands. And the one from Barbados is Godsu Bowen. So those are 2 batsmen, Godsu Bowen from Barbados and Urshino Fontaine from the Windward Islands. I have been told that these 2 guys are very, very good. I've been told that David Mohabir stood out like a beacon as a captain. But the question that needs to be answered by the Guyana Cricket Board, why was this 15-year-old boy taken to the tournament when they knew that his action need adjusting, that they knew that his action need adjusting? So I'm very disappointed. Jason Humphrey, Hetmyer have to apologize to the cricket board about his behavior towards the West Indies team, Caribbean, and towards his country club cricket, where he grew up the champion. I agree. Hopefully the young man comes back stronger through the champion. I really hope that he comes back stronger. It was very, very disappointing, and it is heart-wrenching. It is heart-wrenching. I wouldn't want that to happen to my child, just a 15-year-old. And he left Guyana to Antigua. Imagine the enthusiasm and the motivation. And after playing one match, he was told that he cannot bowl again. Is it that the coach did not see that he was throwing? This is something that probably the coach of the Guyana under-15 team should be fired for. And it goes back again to say, these selectors are not watching the cricket. That's what I've always said. Because if the selectors are watching the cricket and the coach is there, why was this young man allowed to travel to Antigua without ramification to his bowling action? I won't call his name, but you can look and you can do the research and you can ask the question. Sherwin, Dr. Christopher Shallow and I have several friends in common. I'm going to ask some questions. Thank you, Sherwin. Will you come on the show for an interview? I would love to interview him. West Indies should be playing cricket right now like Sri Lanka, Ireland, and Pakistan and New Zealand. Now, Giovanni Reid, the thing with West Indies cricket is that Cricket West Indies get a lot of money from the IPL. Because each West Indies player that plays in the IPL, Cricket West Indies get a percentage, like a due, like a fee to allow their players to play in the IPL. These countries that you list there, they have several sponsorship. If you look at Cricket West Indies players' shirt, there's no sponsorship on them. So they need to get as much money that they want. So they created a clear window for the IPL. TNT beat everyone at under 15. Yes, Trinidad and Tobago won all under 15 matches. They won the tournament even before the 5th round was played. I know Hetmyer can play cricket, but he needs to show his wife who wears the pants in the house. Jason Humphrey, thank you for your comment. You are moving to somewhere where, well, you are bringing a new dimension to the community. You are putting forward some new points to the community. Those views, I thank you for your views, but they are welcome. They are welcome, but what I don't know what to say. Jamaica youth cricket is in shambles. Giovanni Reid, I can tell you this. You are from Jamaica. The longest point in Jamaica is from Negril Point to Moran Point. What my source is telling me, that if the rest of the countries are at Negril Point, Jamaica is at Moran Point. That's so wide is the gap between Jamaica youth cricket and the rest of the cricket in the region. That's what my source is telling me, that the gap is wide. The gap is the length of Jamaica between the rest of the countries and Jamaica. Thank you all for tuning in. The Hetmyer debate will rage on. My opinion is that I would love to see him play for the West Indies again. But does he want to play? That's the question to be answered. And if he wants to play, can he and Cricket West Indies reach a compromise? I'm not sure that Hetmyers want to play. I am not sure. I hope he will play again. But he and Cricket West Indies needs to reach a compromise. Same thing in athletics. Sheldon, also Cricket Forum, why is Jamaica not getting cricket given that they are white ball champions in both Super 50? Supernova 22, it comes down to finance. The CPL is saying that they lose money when they play in Jamaica. Cricket West Indies is saying that to host a tournament in Jamaica costs far more than it does in the rest of the Caribbean. Same thing in athletics. True, Sheldon. And this is a cricket channel, but one of the biggest debates in Jamaica right now is that the influx of regional and international students in our school system to participate in our track and field program. And a decision was made that they are going to limit the number of students that are from overseas. So over 100 students from the Caribbean and the rest of the world took part in boys and girls champ this year. That number going forward will not be so many, as the Intersecondary Schools Sports Association have decided to limit the number of foreigners that can take part in our champs. Thank you all for tuning in. Please slash a like on the video and click on the subscribe button. It was a pleasure being here with you. Join me tomorrow for the live feed. Yes, I'll be broadcasting live the cricket match between Wolmer's Boys School and St. Elizabeth Technical High School. That's the All-Ireland Cricket Finals that will be played over 3 days. And I'll be broadcasting it live. Thank you. Please watch the broadcast. Thank you for tuning in. Slash a like on the video and have a great evening. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Thank you on this Cricket Forum 2nd anniversary. Have a good evening.